Welcome to the Bible Gossip Podcast. I am your host, Katie Fellman. I am going to go book by book and chapter by chapter, verse by verse into the Bible. If you've never read the Bible, now is a great time to join me. We're starting at Genesis, so let's dive in. Okay, so we are going into chapter 7. To recap chapter 6, God is preparing Noah for the flood, and Noah's job is to build the ark. So we are here at chapter 7. Let's go, verse 1. Then the Lord said to Noah, "Go into the ark, you and all your household, for I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. Take with you 7 pairs of clean animals, the male and his mate, and a pair of the animals that are not clean, the male and his mate, and 7 pairs of the birds of the heavens also, male and female, to keep their offspring alive on the face of the earth." So I had to do a little looking into clean animals. Like, what's the difference between clean animals that he's requesting and the filthy animals? So clean animals back then were cattle, sheep, and goats, and they were used for offerings to God. So um, just so you know. So, and then I think too, you have cattle, sheep, and goats. That's a big livestock that people survive off of, like he's not going to be killing animal or elephants and whatnot to eat, for jerky on the ark. But he might surely be surviving off of sheep and goat and cattle. So we've got the animals here. Not clean. Verse number 4. For in 7 days. Yep, I just want to make sure that's where we are. Verse 4, for in 7 days I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and every living thing that I have made I will blot out from the face of the ground. And Noah did all that the Lord commanded of him. So there's a pretty big significance in 40 days and 40 nights. Let me go to my notes over here. So it's really like a symbol for trial, testing, and transformation, a new beginning or preparation for a significant event. So he's warning Noah here. God's warning Noah here that, hey, like a significant event is coming. And I mean, he's wiping out all of mankind, and Noah is restarting humanity. That's a pretty big deal. And I think he picked Noah because he is a righteous man. He lives well, and he lives with the Lord, in his heart and the Holy Spirit. And so what a better person than to restart humanity, because at this point humanity is wayward. We are a hot mess. And so he's giving us another chance through Noah. And the other thing that I was reading through, because I'm going 40 days and 40 nights is such a specific amount of time. And I'm thinking, like, does it take that long to kill plants with water? Does it, what is that significance? But other stories in the Bible also have a 40 days and 40 nights journey, where Moses on Mount Sinai, that's where we get the 10 Commandments, which provide our guidance on righteous living. Jesus in the desert, that's when the devil is trying to tempt him and give him, hey, I can give you the world, I can give you this, but you have to worship me and not your God. And that prepared him for public ministry. But again, that was 40 days and 40 nights. So it's pretty significant. And I kind of think for my own life, I'm like, okay, well, then if I am looking for a big change, and sometimes I think I look back on some big changes that have happened, not to say that they're always 40 days and 40 nights, but it feels like a month period, right? You look back and you're like, God, August was hard. And, you look back and you're like, oh yeah, like that was quite a bit of time that I was in turmoil. But then we always end up on the other side, right? And we always, God always delivers us from our trials. And often, typically, I would say, I would bet on it, we're better off for it, and we are transformed. So let's continue. So, and Noah did all that the Lord commanded of him. Verse 6, Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters came upon the earth. So I want to pause there too. In my last chapter, he said the time of man will be 120 years. So I was thinking like, oh, okay, he's feeling like people are living too long. And now I'm thinking that was a warning for this flood. And I may be wrong, but that is a thought there. He is saying man is only going to get another 120 years and then we'll wipe them out. So because, Noah's over here living to be 600 years old. So he was 600 years old when the floodwaters came upon the earth. And Noah and his sons and his wife and his son's wife with him went into the ark to escape the waters of the flood. Of the clean animals and of animals that are not clean, and of birds and of everything that creeps on the ground, 2 and 2, male and female, went into the ark with Noah, as God had commanded Noah. And after 7 days, the waters of the flood came upon the earth. Verse 11. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month of the 7th day of the month, on that day, all the fountains of the great deep burst forth, and the windows of the heavens were opened, and the rain fell upon the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. On the very same day, Noah and his sons, Shem and Ham and Japheth, and Noah's wife and the 3 wives of his son with them entered the ark. They and every beast according to its kind, and all the livestock according to their kinds, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth according to its kind, and every bird according to its kind, every winged creature. They went into the ark with Noah, 2 and 2 of all flesh, in which there was a breath of life, and the Lord shut him in. So now we're on verse 17. So they're prepped, they're hunkering down. And here we go. The flood continued for 40 days on earth. The waters increased and bore up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. The waters prevailed and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the face of the waters. And the waters prevailed so mightily on the earth that all the high mountains under the whole heaven were covered. The waters prevailed above the mountains, covering them 15 cubits deep. And all flesh died that moved on the earth, birds, livestock, beasts, all swarming creatures that swarm on the earth, and all of mankind. Everything on the dry land in whose nostrils was the breath of life died. He blotted out every living thing that was on the face of the ground, man and animals and creeping things and birds of the heavens. They were blotted out from the earth. Only Noah was left, and those who were with him on the ark. And the water prevailed on earth for 150 days. So that is the end of chapter 7. What some interesting takeaways. So the first thing I thought about was like, why did God choose a flood? He could have, I live in California, so he could have easily sent wildfires and we could have just burned and I think fire has a lot of symbolism also. There's certain trees in California that have to burn so that certain bugs can mate. That's wild. So there's certain things that need fire to regrow life, right? And so I'm thinking, well, why didn't God just use fire? Then I start thinking like there's not a ton of answers online when you are trying to research this. And to be honest, it's a sad thing to research. So I didn't go too in depth because my little heart just couldn't handle the answers. But I was wondering, this is kind of sick, so stick with me here. But I was wondering, is it more painful to die by fire or is it more painful to die drowning, right? Because that's really, maybe there's other options God could have done, but I'm thinking fire or water. And actually God shows his what is online, what's available, because I have nor burned to death or drowned to death. But what is available online is that drowning is much less painful than being burned to death. So I think, okay, God's wanting to wipe the slate clean. He's wanting to start over. And he sent water because he's still showing his mercy. He still cares for humanity, but he's seeing the evil and he just can't let this continue because it's not going to celebrate the kingdom whatsoever. So, I think that's why he flooded it. I think he was still being a merciful God and trying to let people go the softest way that they could. And even though he was taking the breath of life, also that's another thing we've read a couple of times. If you've heard that saying in here, the breath of life, I love that. I think I don't know why I find that just very poetic. And water just really signifies the renewal. And maybe this is where that symbolism comes from is the flood, because this is the first time we're seeing the world restarting. So another question I had during this chapter is, do we know how many animals were on the ark? So interesting enough, there was 1,398 kinds, which actually means genus and not species. So they are saying, they as in the Google search or the internet search is approximately 6,744 animals. And how we get from 1,398 to 6,744 is they're going by genus and not species. So for instance, sharks, when you think of sharks, you're not going to just pick two sharks. There's over 500 species of sharks. So there's a lot, there's, so birthing of birds, lizards, there's a million different species within a genus. So that's quite a snug quarters they had there on the ark. And then the significance of 40 days and 40 nights, which we kind of talked about again, is just purifying and trial, testing, and transformation. And I challenge you to kind of look into your life. Where has there been big transformation? Where have there been big trials, and vice versa? So you see a big transformation. I bet if you look back, there was probably some pretty turbulent trials to get you to that transformation, and vice versa. You look at your trials and go, oh my gosh, and maybe that makes you a glass half empty, glass half full kind of person. But when you look at your glass, is it half empty, half full? Look at how you've transformed. Look at the trials you've already overcome. And I bet there's probably more upcoming for you. That's maybe not the good news, but the good news is God's got you, and he's got you in his hand, and he's going to get you through those trials, and you will be transformed on the other side. I hope you guys have a great day, and thanks for watching the Bible Gossip Podcast.